Hello and welcome back to the CrossFire Legends Championship National Qualifiers for the Malaysian region here. This is day number 5 of the qualifiers here. My name is Sagi. Alongside of me is none other than your favorite analyst, Gideon Q here. Gideon, we've went through a long way in the group stage right now, and this is the finals days of our group stage. Determine that 4 teams who will be heading on to that playoffs bracket.
Oh yeah, and again, these are the final games that these players are going to play before they start making it over to the semifinals, and as well as the grand finals, both of which are going to be happening tomorrow and the day after. Now, don't forget to pre-register now for CrossFire Legends, the PC to mobile port that everybody's been waiting for, the FPS that has been in the underground since the beginning of time. You have a chance to maybe participate in the upcoming CrossFire Legends Championship the following year if you pre-register right now.
This is what we call the early mover advantage, right? Yes, we have a lot of these strong teams, but if you put in enough effort at the start of the game's release, who knows, like what Gideon mentions, right? You might just be the next upcoming star coming into the Malaysian tournament here. But of course, right now, we do have to go through the tournament format to see what these teams are actually playing for in CFLC.
And that's great that you brought that up, because our tournament format here started all the way in November 21st to 23rd in the Open Qualifiers. The top 4 from every single region were then put into the National Qualifiers, where 2 professional teams were also invited to play, which is what's happening right now between the 10th of December to the 14th of December. But once we get the top 4 from every single one of these regions, we move on from BO1s to BO3s. 4 teams from every region on the 20th to the 21st will have the national qualifiers, and only the top 2 from every region will make it to the group stage.
And you'll have 10 teams playing in the CFLCC championships here. So those teams will be coming in from Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and 2 invited Vietnamese teams playing in the official tournament later on in the 2026 year. And this will be the prize pool, 24.6k coming in USD for these players up for grabs.
A lot of money, and 2,500 for the champions alone. The runner-ups only get half of that, and then it's 250s all the way down to 350s minus down to only the MVP, which is an extra $100, and the team with the best performance overall, which will take $100. Keep in mind that only the top 4 are going to be moving on to the next stage, so $600 in the pocket and then a potential for even more doesn't sound too bad.
It doesn't sound too bad. You make sure that you're top 2, and then you have a busy year going into 2026, because you see 4 weeks in group stage, and then you participate in the February 7 and 8 semifinals and grand finals. But let's check out the teams that will be participating in this tournament format coming in for the Malaysian qualifiers here. For Malaysia, we have Quattro Knights, MAL, Independent Gang Esports, Invoker Squad, O2 Esports, and last but not least, TXD.
Of course, we have been watching these teams play day in, day out for the past couple of days. We're getting a better idea of where these teams stand, especially within the Malaysian region. And then we start looking at the other regions like Thailand, Indonesia, and as well as Philippines. It feels like everybody has either a specific playstyle, or they're taking inspiration from those who already had access to the game and have been playing this game for a lot longer. Again, I'm looking at the big orgs, of course. I'm looking at Full Sense, I'm looking at Vampire Esports, E-Arena, Evolson, as well as Onyx Esports, all names that have been in the Southeast Asian esports scene for a very, very long time. I wouldn't be too surprised if they took out a bit of resources to make sure that their team learned from the best.
And talking about the best, right, if we were to refer to the other regions as well, we do have some of the other team pro players from other games converting into CFL here for the specific qualifiers here. You check out O2 Esports, they're pretty stacked out with ex-pros.
Oh yeah, they used to be playing battle royales day in, day out. Now all they have to worry about is getting the first 7 rounds, because so far, based on what we've seen on the performance of O2 Esports, there's only very few teams that could actually push them to the limits. Let's look at today's schedule, and might I emphasize some of the highlight games, because this is going to be the predeterminer of who is going to make it to that next round. We're starting things off with TXD facing up against the Quattro Knights, MAL facing off Invoker Squad, and then Independent Gank facing off O2.
Now, to put into emphasis on what Gideon mentioned, to say that yes, this is the final days of the group stage to determine who is the top 4 teams going into the next round, but check out the round robin 14. MAL versus Invoker Squad. Both are 1 and 3, and there's only the final top 4 slot left for either of these teams if they want to make it through the playoffs, they have to win their respective matches here. And round robin 15, Independent Gang Esports going up against O2 Esports. Will O2 reign supreme in the entire group stage going 5-0? Or will IG put a stop towards it and tie themselves with a 4-1 score coming in for that series?
Yeah, it's gonna make things really complicated if TXD is able to beat QK and then almost immediately after IG ends up beating O2. And that's gonna create a really interesting scenario. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. We do want to see a clear winner by the end of these groups so that coming into the next upcoming national or regional qualifiers, that it's going to be just as convincing to know who to kind of put your support behind. Similarly to our sponsors. Once again, we want to thank Oppo for making everything possible here. Siri Oppo A6 Pro, kini dilancarkan, direka untuk ketahanan prestasi seperti baharu. For those of you who understand it, don't worry, the Siri Oppo A6 is already launched. It is designed to last and it has the persistence and the performance like brand new.
That's why some of the pro players, when they use the phone itself, they have super insane performance, like Yanzi, like the side of like O2 Esports players, Drax. They do really well here. But if you want like clean camera feed coming in from both Sagi and also Gideon, do give our sponsor here, OBS Bot, the Me Too gaming webcam, a try here. 4K with AI technology here. Rakam keunggulan Anda and stream legacy Anda. Record your forge to greatness here. Starting off with this specifically super good camera.
You'll never miss another moment where I just wish I had somebody recording it. Osbot has got you covered. Now, speaking of today's games, I mean, yesterday alone, we saw a little bit of a difference from the previous day before when we're talking about O2, right? Again, Drax, again, was looking amazing. He was blowing through teams, and then yesterday happened where iShots was a big standout. I'm pretty sure he passed the Oppo phone along, or they only have one Oppo phone amongst the 5 of them that they're just passing along, trying to get that big MVP at the end.
They probably have to bring more Oppo phones if they really want to bring out that big W later on in towards the series here, but this will be the first match coming into day number 5, TXD going up against Quatrain Knights, with Global Risk side, the attacking side, coming in from the Quatrain Knights, and defending side coming in from TXD.
Standout players here is Kachang 7, Pumburu, and also Hey Noob up on the rise. He's been finding some really good early picks in previous days, but today, now that they're playing here, much slower approach, actually. Very slow approach from all sides. They're playing for picks.
Yeah, but Kachang 7 though, this specific angle is really stressful coming in from Quatrain Knights. You can see the AWM rifle just getting 1 kill immediately. This is really bad news coming in for side Quatrain Knights because it's super hard to enter with a numbers deficit.
Yeah, no, I think they should have just waited a little bit longer for the smoke to reach its maximum volume before swinging out. Oh! Garuda unfortunately falling into the scopes of your boy Pumburu, and now trying to make sure that at least from B long side that there's going to be enough, but the defensive side has already taken out all the spearheads, now fighting for their lives as the C4 and the rest of the attacking squad start making their way over to B with only one defensive player left. Gotcha 7. He's looking for anything else. He's trying to deny the angles. They're not letting them back onto the site at all. They're holding them at the entrance of the corridor.
And you have man-hunting moment right now. The sole member coming in for the side of Quatrain Knights. Doesn't have the C4 with 30 seconds on the clock. He needs to spray and play against 4 main members here. First to fall coming in for the side of TXD will be Kachang 7. Does he get more though? He gets 2. He gets almost 3, but he does taken down by the CrossFire coming in for the side of TXD.
Yeah, he was a little worried that he was going to get flanked there. That's why he pushed up into the intersection. Again, can't really do much about that scenario. Really difficult to pull out from your back pocket on demand, especially in such high-stakes games. TXD still 1-0 for now on the defensive side. Early flash coming out from the B side. Doesn't find anybody just yet. Early smokes as well, as finally we see that Pumburu decided to go for a quick peek through window. And with that next flash coming through, it's going to allow the players to quickly take that space. Do they want to commit and execute on A?
Yeah, they are chugging in nades, chugging in all the utils here, getting as much information as possible here. Grimod silently sneaking up in towards short here. Does go into a 1v1 against Otok here. Not sure how that's playing out right now. We do see utils being committed here. 1v1 coming in. Otok does get the nail down on towards Grimod here, making it a 4v3 in favor for the side of TXT. But the battle is not over yet. Appy making the angle on towards the Sutra Hall window here. Gets one, almost getting two, gets taken down already, putting so much work, and that is yet another clean sweep coming in for side TXD.
Really nice stuff coming in from Otok, making sure that he was, again, making sure that he can kind of set up that initial kill and slow down the attacking side. Appy definitely followed up really nicely as well. He managed to get the molly out, he won his 1v1, and even got an extra kill on his way out. So everything that could have gone well for TXD, definitely nothing to really change. I think it's Quattro Knights right now. I'm not sure whether they're the ones who call for the technical pause here, but so far, in terms of their execution, it's just a little bit slow. They're getting free util out of TXD. TXD is putting a lot more respect on QK's name than anybody else here in CFLC so far.
And to your point, right, when we talk about the side of Quattro Knights, the way they enter, the way they get the first frag on towards the enemy, is still looking pretty good. It's just the following attack that is not as great, where are we seeing 4-man charging in with proper utils like smoke? Are we seeing 1-man lurking through windows? So what's the game plan here if you're on the attacking side coming from Quattro Knights? Because just on that round, they picked off an early Pamburu, but still, it was 4 members strong coming in from TXD, taking down the remainder of QK.
I think they have to first win out power positions, like the big intersection between A long and B long. I think that's a really powerful angle if you can guard both of those initial entrances. Just especially if you are on the blacklist side, right? Because now you have access to anybody who's trying to flank you, who wants to be a little bit more aggressive with searching for information. If A long happens to be checking for information, there's a good chance that there's going to be multiple members of TXD on that side. If you do hear like pre-fired shots, at least you can communicate to the rest of the team, hey, maybe we've probed A little too long. I've heard plenty of flashes and smokes being thrown out from the side of B. They're running out of util. We can hit them a lot more efficiently.
And TXD so far has been really consistent with their rotations here, always putting in 2-3, 2 towards B and 3 towards A here, and the moment they see a big entry coming in from Quattro Knights, they immediately rotate the B side towards the A side here, which chucks up a lot of timing coming in for the side of Quattro Knights. But Quattro Knights, Roger getting a very quick kill on towards Pamburu.
Yeah, a bit of a repeat of what happened yesterday. Roger just decided, you know what? Give me the AWM in hand, and I'm going to do the rest. They've already found that first initial pick, but look at the defensive layout here, right? By A long, you can already see that they have one member missing, but they still have somebody holding onto the lower ground intersection to make sure that nobody can cross. These mollies are great as well, but on the opposite side, Kachang, alongside with Hey Noob, with an aggressive corridor on B long, they could push out at any time, and that's what QK is worried about.
Yeah, Revo here needs to go for an aggressive peek here. Has the assistance coming in from his team. He can go for the swing against Appy right now. He hears the footsteps here. They're baiting each other out in this 1v1. Roger doesn't check his left side angle here. Forces out the rotation here. Has the info. Goes in for the 1v1 against Appy. Gets taken down. On towards the backside here. Hey Noob is already coming here. Aiden Dude. He does find the reposition here. A successful entry towards the A side bomb plant.
Okay. Hey Noob is going to be the first to look into the site. Doesn't see where the C4 is planted just yet. He can only assume that it's within somewhere by the boxes. All right. It's by the default plant.
Okay, they have 24 seconds here to play around here. Aiden does get taken out by the side of Hey Noob here. That leaves Revo, the sole surviving member, coming in for the side of Quattro Knights. He needs to hold time. He needs to hold until his teammates gets here, but the final strike does come true. 9 seconds here. Do we see a successful dismantle here? They do get the defuse on towards that C4. Very clutch situation coming in from Hey Noob.
Hey, honestly, Hey Noob was just holding down the fire key, while everybody else, well, at the very least, on the defuse, it's just 100% trust. Like, you will not let him take a shot at me. And he trusted that Hey Noob was going to get that kill. Now, once again, TXT taking very aggressive angles by the long sides, both of which...
Yeah, and I like the way that the side of TXT plays with this AWM. Ooh, and Appy gets picking off already.
No, Appy finds that kill onto Revox, actually. Gets a good headshot on it. Looks like these rifles are really coming into play.
Another
Huge long angles. A second shot from Appy. He's awake today.
he's feeling good after 2 snipes here. Hainu goes into a 1v1 against his counterpart here. Gets the kill on towards Greenmall here. This does leave 2 surviving members on towards Roger here. Check your corners, buddy, because Hainu is coming for the lurk.
Yep. Quattro Knights, they're just not showing enough resistance against these angles, right? They find that they initially got taken off mid. I guess that's what they weren't really expecting, that 2 people were going to swing out of the mid windows anyways. But so far, they've been worried about TXD's aggressive angles that they take on the defensive side, which allows them to flank so quickly. So Quattro Knights, they either have to make a fast decision or, wait, hold on. It looks like they're just going to have to fight it out because the defensive side is pulled out. Roger finds the first kill already by these long angles, and as the defense slowly pushes out all the way into spawn, all hell's about to break loose.
Yeah, 1v1 coming in from beside of Pamburu and Momon here does get the disengage here, but the members coming in from the downstairs here do get the pickup kill here, and our C4 holder Revo, he's not feeling good because that's a lot of players cornering him in this short.
Yep, sub lane is absolutely war right now, and Garamunda unfortunately loses his head. Again, this is how aggressive TXD wants to be, right? They're just waiting for that curtain call. They're waiting for that flare in the sky to signal, hey, it's our time to start moving out. They're not doing anything, so let's make things happen.
And so far we see the meta of this specific map coming in for this round. It's AWM towards long. It's AWM towards corners here. The moment someone wants to go in for the rush, they get immediately taken off here. And Pamburu gets naded, gets taken out by Greenmall here. So that's a numbers advantage going in favor for the Quattro Knights in this starting round.
He just didn't react fast enough. Really unfortunate for Pamburu here, but does mean that at the very least, that's 1 less gun. But Quattro Knights also lost Garimunda in the process, right? And now they find another one in Roger. A huge opening coming in from Hainu. The single sole person takes out Roger as well. And now Adindu, he's trying to look for picks. Manages to trade him out at the very least. But now with the C4 in hand against 3 members, what else can he truly do?
He needs to rotate here, but he gets cornered on towards the stairs here. Gets flooded by the members coming from TXD. And in the first half, we see TXD with a commanding 6-0 before the side swap.
All right, it's 1st to 7. We need to see TXD go for that last point. A big finisher here to finish with a perfect 7-0 score.
And this is their first round coming in with the rotation directly towards an aggressive A-rush here. Utils already flushed in towards the mid side here. And Hainu entering does get blinded by the flashbang.
Oh, there's a spam coming in for Gotchuk 7, and now that he's got teammates behind him to back him up, Pabuno needs to get this at least on to Adin, and he finds him. He knows that there's one more. Doesn't realize that he's already flanked around him. Otto looking at Roger, but Mamon does find him, turning this into a 2v2. A really scrappy fight, but Otto wins his one, and now it's a 2v1.
Yeah, Momo needs to clutch this out if he wants to extend the round here, but they are going for the melee against it. 1x, 2x gets taken down. Momo really low on health right now. 1v1, Appy wants to look for the melee. Gets the corner, gets the final strike on towards the enemy.
And he finds it with the Kurga, of course. Of course. Winner, it is TXD Esports. If they want it, they'll have their way with you. One of the few teams that pushed O2 to their limits, but at the very least, not much resistance from the Quattro Knights. TXD, they just got it on lock.
Then we can check back the replay here. Early rounds is Kachang 7 holding on this angle, getting those big rifle shots on towards the enemy here. And then we see more moments where TXD, yes, they were just playing with their food, getting all these big flanks against windows, against longs, against the enemy.
Yeah, and these are not like really boring angles where you're sitting inside and waiting for something to happen.
No.
They are taking the long sides, right? B long, A long, both being covered. They know that they intersect with each other. So if one side actually has a lot of space, you can instantly go for that huge flank, especially from that B side. And I think unfortunately for the Quattro Knights, they just had no real answer to it other than hoping that their utils should have been enough. And even then, you have these fast flanks coming in from Hainu before you can get into position to do so.
And this was the final moments here coming in for this series, the round number 7, where we saw the melee coming in from Otok and also Appy to seal the deal for this series here. And with the victory alone coming in from TXD, they do cement themselves as 4-1 in the group stage, minimally securing that second spot.
Yep, securing that second spot so far, but things could potentially change. We'll see, because right now, we're thinking, how is that second one going to go? MAL, these guys, they've improved consistently, but at the same time, Invoker Squad also, they had some good moments as well. It's really difficult to say who's going to be walking away alive from that one specifically, because again, we are looking at the top 4. These are teams who are looking to qualify for the next round.
For MEL and Invoker Squad, because of the fact that they're tied 1-3 in the standings, and the top 3 is really too far from their reach, it's a battle between them. And in the final game of group stage between those two, you win, you continue. You lose, you start planning your second round in the 2026 CFL Esports year. So everything is on the line for these two teams.
Yep, both of these teams came from the Open Qualifiers, so they understand how long of a journey it takes, because again, Open Qualifiers may go by pretty quick for viewers out there, but generally speaking, when you got like 126 teams and then you got to boil it all the way down, that's a lot of first to sevens you got to play before you even get to the money-making matches.
And you talk about these like Open Qualifier teams, right? The way that they're playing all these tournaments, playing these qualifiers, but we also have to count in the restless nights they're actually putting in practicing and scrimming here. So adaptation has been a pretty big thing for these teams here. As we see in day 1, day 2, day 3, more on the 1v1s, more on the aggressive rushes towards sites. But now, with more utils being introduced, with more AWM rifles being introduced towards the meta right now in this tournament, you can see angles being held off really well. 1v1 AWMs in mid, and then you can see more smokes to really cover angles to forbid those snipers from catching you off.
Maybe they're not completely well versed in every single lineup in the game so far. I don't think anyone is going to be at this point. The game hasn't even come out for most of y'all anyway, so pre-register while you still have the time with the QR code down below. But I'm just saying that power supply with such long angles, it makes a lot of sense for them to actually go for the AWM. We'll see, well, you know, on our upcoming maps like Satellite, for an example, which has just been announced. Satellite between MAL and Invoker Squad. So that'll be interesting to see how that's going to play out. Whether or not this map is going to really change the overall playstyles. Maybe they might bring up more SMGs. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, just now when I saw Quatrain Knights, I think one of the players was going in with a SMG. We were testing it in the practice tool, right? With the practice range, the shooting range, where SMG, if you turn on the spray setting in your aim, the moment you press that button and you start walking in, it's so consistent and there's like hardly any recoil.
Yeah, there's hardly any recoil. Really high stabilization, like a surprising amount of stabilization, which is why it jumps up for like half a second and then immediately is just a beam. It is a laser. It is ridiculous how high that rate of fire is, but then again, it's not a high damage gun, and you still need to like land consistent headshots if you want to like compete with some of the one taps out there, like the AKs and the M4A1s. Either way, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of like breaks down, because if there's a couple of things that we learned from our very first match, at the very least, we are seeing that teams are starting to say, hey, let's litmus test the first couple of rounds. If we don't feel a lot of resistance, then we get disrespectful.
I mean, that's what exactly TXD did, right? Because round 1, round 2, it was really close. I remember one of the moments required Appy and also one member coming in from TXD, I think it was Kachang, to block out the window and make sure that Appy got that diffuser. And that was the closest round that Quatrain Knights actually got in that series. So after that, it was just bulldozing coming in for the side of TXD. Esports just keep on rushing towards the side of the base coming in for the side of Quatrain Knights, despite the fact that they were playing on the global risk side, the defensive side.
Yep. I think that at the very least, I don't think we can really predetermine, until we get into best of threes, it's difficult to predetermine if these teams are more attacker oriented or more defensive oriented, because we only get like one round swap anyways on one particular map, which sometimes we see that some of these maps are a little bit more attacker side favorite, or, you know, defensive side favorite, global risk or blacklist, you know, which side are you going to be on? And I feel like with how much momentum this game runs with, because again, the game is very simple, right? They're not introducing crazy abilities, they're making sure that it's the honest 4 grenades, 2 weapons, 1 melee, and that's all you get. Everything else is either cosmetic and slightly adjusts the stats mainly for your guns, but there's no ways to teleport through walls, you know? There's no ways to, you know, come back from the dead or something crazy. No, you die, you gotta wait for the next round.
And to add on to your point, right? Yes, we don't really get a lot of these stats boosts. Everybody gets the similar loadout depending on what they actually plan for the specific BO1. And the beauty of CFL also lies into this one thing. every round is a new round for you. You're back to an equal footing, and the only thing stopping you is, number one, your own mechanics, or number two, your own mental.
They've stripped away all the confusing things in tactical FPSs, bringing the knowledge gap a little bit lower. So and now you don't have to think about like, oh, I gotta econ this round, I have to save. Saving? No, we want you to be right in the action, which is what CrossFire Legends is all about. So with that being said, though, taking away those mechanics and those overall ideas really boils the game down to, oh, do I have more knowledge of the map better than you? Do I know the angles better? Can I use my mechanics to get away with either my aim or my usage of grenades? I think those are the two main skills that you're going to need throughout the CrossFire Legends Championship to stand above the rest. And then obviously the team stuff, but as an individual player, those two.
Yeah, it boils really down to the specific things that you talk about, right? Especially fundamentals. Fundamentals really brings you far in terms of mechanics, rotations, how to throw proper smokes, mollies, grenades. Those timings are exceptionally important. And right now, in the top three, TXD, IG, and also O2, they are the few front runners in this tournament to have pretty good usage of those fundamentals.
Yes, they are. And you can definitely see it in the game, right? Especially when they take those slower approaches, you can clearly tell that they're just waiting for a cue. They're waiting for some bit of audio to work with before they make a decision. But everybody has some good fundamentals on TXD. And as we look at the leaderboards, we'll probably see how much more everybody has, right? I think with the only exception of IG, but that's only because Yanzi is so ridiculously mechanically talented.
Oh, talking about Yanzi, right? I mean, yes, they lost yesterday, but every time Yanzi plays, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting for his team. He is definitely one of the star players to be looking out on. But talking about star players, though, we do have to give props over to the MVP player coming in towards this round one. It will be Noob here, coming in with a 10-3-2 KDA and an ADR of 130.
Yep, once again, Noob comes up big time. Obviously not the highest amount of damage dealt overall, but he was finishing off a lot of people, right? 10-3-2, his final score and an ADR of 130. I think that this team definitely has like multiple diamonds in the rough in there. I would like to see them polish that up a little bit more to see how many angles of attack could they potentially come up with.
At the very least for now, TXD, Noob is really good at reading the map and finding those backside lurks against the enemy. I think back in highlights, there was back-to-back 3 moments where he was just lurking towards doors and just getting those pickoffs here. But that was the first round coming in of day number 5. We have the main one coming in with MAL and also Invoker Squad. Winner advances to playoffs. Losers, however, though, have to go back to train and come in for the 2026 season.
Yeah, they're going to be waiting for the next Open Qualifiers, and that is going to be a while. So MAL and Invoker Squad, this match is for top 4. The first to 7. Some real stakes here for the squadrons. And I have good things to say of both MAL and as well as Invoker Squad. Both of them, obviously, when they first came in, they were looking a little fresh, but now I think, you know, they're really incorporating some very good fundamentals on top of having like an idea of what to do macro-wise on each of the maps that I feel a little bit more confident that now that it's been like, what, 5 days worth of play, so they've got it figured out at some point, right?
I mean, you try and try and try until you learn to be the best, right? And you don't always fail. When you fail, you are learning in the process here. So whoever learns the fastest out of the 4 days of beating that they have received potentially might just make it to the playoffs here. But for you and all the fans out there that want to play CFL already, do drop a pre-register right now, because in 2 days, this game will be officially released in the App Store iOS here. So do drop it down right now by scanning that QR code.
That way you can get ahead of everybody else. They're going to be coming in with cooler skins. They're going to be coming up with better stats. And they're going to have no idea about the secret little tidbit, this QR code that you see before you. So quickly, scan it while you still can, and then come back to it. Because again, I'm pretty sure that these games are going to be starting up real soon here, and I think there's going to be an important pep talk between both Invoker Squad and MAL before they start hashing it out.
I think the next map will be Satellite as well, featuring both of these teams. And to be honest here, we haven't been seeing lots of these Satellite gameplays thus far. And for players, I hope that they're getting sufficient scrim time to actually understand the map, because game has not been out yet and there is very limited play testing coming in for these want to be pros as of this now. They are aspiring, they want to do whatever they can, but without further ado, let's go in. MAL goes up against Invoker Squad to define who goes into playoffs.
All right, let's get right into this. Kicking things off, it's going to be MAL on the defense. Global Risk facing off against Invoker Squad on the blacklist attacking side, and it's going to be a bit of a default here for the attacking side with early flashes to deny space and information. But they want to show presence just enough. The first frag is already out and the C4 holder takes no damage whatsoever.
Very aggressive take here. Look at the members being invested in towards this mid side here. It's gonna be an open brawl here. First blood already in favor for the side of Invo here. And you can see Kai-chan finding the aggressive end. Does get the pick off here on towards the side of Caramel here. That is more kills here. He got info. He knows where Dino is. Dino, turn around!
Dino manages to get it anyway. Sugus and Webu are the only two. It's a 2v2 here by the A side as the C4 has not been planted just yet. They're still holding on to it as they walk on into the site, and the defenders are all looking to play retake. They made the decision early. Cal's unable to finish the kill and finally gets it at the end, turning this all towards Sugus.
Yeah, this is not gonna be easy coming in from Sugus here. Bomb has been planted here. Gets the pick off. Now it's a 1v1. Sugus versus Calzi. Who gets it? It's gonna be close. He gets the final strike on towards the 1v2. Clutches the round and will get the defuse on this C4. What a round coming in from Sugus, the clutch maker.
Huge clutch by Sugus, who gets it right at the end. Amazing timing though, right? He turns out, instantly sees Dino out of position, kills him. Can't do anything about it. Cal's realizes that they just got time and freaks out as he turns the corner against the repeat. Surprisingly enough, things that could have gone wrong honestly did go wrong, but it could have been any better for MAL as they go into the second round. Same opening.
Same opening, putting heavy resources on towards mid and the A long here. So those are going to be interesting ones. Caramel capturing the 1v1 against Kai-chan here. Gets the pick off here. That is a good start coming in from the terrorist side here. But Kango gets a return kill already here. 2 down for Invo.
And they've got the bomb as well. If they can just win this last fight out, they might have just secured it for themselves. And they have Kengo hold strong. They know that the C4 is covered. He needs to deal with the person on site. Ends up dying anyways as we see that Webu finally gets taken down at the very end. But the C4 is still under guard by the one and only Sugus. The pre-fire!
Being caught out! The pre-fire! Oh no! That was a critical one coming in for the side of Sugus.
He heard it. He heard him switch weapons, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah, you can't switch weapons when you are in a clutch moment here. Good thinking to go for the Yotil here, but the timing was perfectly caught coming in by the side of Caramel here. So props to them, equalizing the series right now, 1-1. We're back to a square footing. Sugus finding the pre-angle here onto his Zoe here. Goes for the 1v3 and towards Tunnel B here. Just get taken down with a number deficit coming in from MAL.
Wasn't able to get the Util out in time, too busy pre-firing, but now that both defenders are gone, B side is wide open as mid now gets contested as Gaichan looks for an opportunity. Caramel, he whips the opportunity, loses a head as well, gets traded on. It took too long to get that kill, and Mang, he throws the frag grenade to try and deny it, and finds one. He's looking for a second, and this is going to be difficult, real difficult with an SMG in hand.
The 2v2, Calzi does get taken down right now with the side of MAL being superior here. Dino gets the angle here, but doesn't swing on time. This round, once again, going over to the side of MAL on the global risk.
And that's when it gets really scary to deal with these, specifically against these SMGs in those corridors, or especially when you're indoors, inside, and there's plenty of cover to kind of move back and forth from. That's where the SMGs really shine.
Yeah, the stability and the way that you can run and spray is really good on those SMGs here. As an aggressive mid-take here, Kai-chan swings out, tries to go for the first kill here, does get traded off immediately here, but the fight continues in tunnel.
Yep, this is worth it. This is worth it for at least Kai-chan. He was able to get a 1-for-1 despite the 2v1 disadvantage, but they're losing defenders and they're dropping fast as the B side is now wide open. A side rotations will now begin. Now, if you look down by mid, they even dropped the smoke by mid just in case, and had an attacker hybrid there to watch it.
Yeah, 2v4 right now in favor for the side of Invo squad here. They need to get the plan down. Kengo goes 1v1 against Hybrid here. Gets caught in the crossfire with Mang and Hybrid right now. 2v3. Once again, Invo with the numerical advantage here. They need to hold proper angles here. We see Mang and also Kengo slowly approaching this B-bomb site.
And I love the fact that they're layering their utils bit by bit. So Flash immediately go for a smoke, and then we're gonna molly just behind the smoke. Oh, Kengo doesn't notice him. Dino takes out one. Look for his second one here. Mang finds it in and out of the smoke and gets a second. 15 HP in the bag, and Dino, he doesn't want to make that mistake no more. Stays from afar, takes him out.
A much better post plan here coming in for the side of Invo squad, covering all the access here, the angles of entry, making sure that, hey, Kai-chan, you want to come in? You will be punished the moment that you show yourself in that rotation.
And that's the great thing about the util, because once you got the post plant down, throwing your utils almost guarantees you time if you know that your opponents are coming through it. Now, the frags are going to be coming out a little bit further ahead than I would have liked it to be, but at the very least, they've been conditioned to expect some kind of resistance here by A Long. But on the opposite side, we see that the B tunnel is still going to be heavily contested here with little and to no influence from Invoker squad. They're just there for the information, and the mid guy has already flanked around towards B.
They're going in for an aggressive A take here, but Kengo being the sole defender here on this A side here. We see rotations funnel in by the side of MAL to quickly aid their ace player here, but Flash's utils are being used very aggressively. Kai-chan takes two.
Oh no, Caramel and Hybrid were too slow on the rotation, and they got hurried out by the mid flankers, and now it's all going to break down very, very quickly. Hybrid and Dino are the only ones left. They have to hold their angle strong, but the worst part yet is when Muevo, he doesn't know that Dino is there. He just needs to spam that box. He has the penetration. He's using the Board Beast Alpha AK-47.
The Molly, though, being chucked in here might be burning Dino for a bit of a chunk of health here. So right now, if you're Invo, 2v3, have the bomb, how do you play this retake on towards the side? Slowly but surely, Hybrid lurking around here. He is entering this A site, but there is someone already holding on towards the angles.
Oh, they're expecting... Oh, gets him. Hybrid finds him. Looks like MAL, they just didn't have the read on it, right? They assumed that they could have been anywhere. So they were looking at all different angles and all different entry points. Mom finds one as the bomb has already been planted. Gets a second one to close things out. SMG, man, no problem. He just sneaks up right behind you.
The patient tiger Mang. He was staying on towards that window for so long, and the moment he heard the plan, comes down, immediately swings through, gets the first kill, and then drops down in towards the bomb site, picks up another one, clutching it for MAL. And a bit of a switch up here coming in from Invo. No longer playing mid, they're going in full straight B rush right now.
Oh, and here it comes. First, it's going to be the Flash. He's still holding on to everything else. Cows gets the first initial kill as he pushes right through the defense. And now they're just going to blaze their way into glory, all the way into the B side. With one man, Mang, with an SMG in hand. He can't be touched and finally brings one with him, turning this into a 2v3. But Dino, he gets taken out instantaneously. Caramel as well with the help of Kai-chan, turning this left to Cal's and Kengo.
Yeah, man. Kai-chan clutching up the round here. 1v1 for the 4th point before the swap here goes over to the side of Cows. We equalize the series once again.
Oh, we got a dead even series here. This is truly a battle of attrition. 3-3 so far. Round 7 begins. Now, with a bit of a swap here, Invoker squad gonna try to make sure that this attack coming in from MAL is going to be non-existent. Early flashes, very far lineup for that frag grenade. I really like that coming down in towards mid, but it's a very default setup. And you can see that Invoker squad, they're just looking for information. They see nobody, right? They don't even see the util yet. Only towards Tunnel B that they do notice there is a bit of resistance.
Yeah, Bumo here getting some pre-fire here, chucks out Dino for a bit of his health bar. As we see a lot of utils being chucked towards this Tunnel B into really slow down Invoker and also MAL's approach in towards this site.
They're about to execute here. They got a minute 16. Yeah. They still have time to actually look for other entry points. And I think that's what Kai-chan is looking for right now. Oh my god! It could have been the same exact position that it could have died the last time. when he was trying to defend, gets lined up for the crossfire, but this time is able to isolate his targets. Now they guarantee know that it's going to be a B-side attack. They're quickly trying to go for the reinitiation, but Mang doesn't check every single corner. Cal's takes out one, preemptively swings back, doesn't find anybody, sees Sugus at the very end here, putting him down 5 HP and wins out the shots at the end. Cal's barely taking damage.
Invo squad playing this super duper well here. They were so patient in layering those utils, smokes, mollies, delaying the side of MAL's attack on that blacklist side. And then when time is ticking, they go into a pressure mode. They want to go in and they get picked off in all those pre-fire angles coming in for side Invoker squad.
Ooh. Okay, alright. First flash and now second frag as well. Zoe surprisingly doesn't take as much damage as I would have liked him to, even though he kind of walked into both of those. Even so, plenty of space being given away here on the A side. If they can force a rotation out of the Invoker squad, they get a free way into B, but since nobody's moving, they're just waiting patiently.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy coming in forward inside of MAL here. The way that Invo is playing, they're not aggressively pushing out to the map. They're holding on all the potential entrances here. And already, information being sought after by Caramel here. Goes in for 1v2, immediately backs off, utilizes the utils to cover up time. Zoe picking up Sugus here. And Kengo also going super duper low, trading back the kills back and forth. 4v3 in favor for side of MAL. They still have yet to go in for the aggressive side take.
Oh, wait, they didn't realize it. They don't know that they didn't have the bomb. They did not have the bomb. And Kai-chan, without the bomb, there's nothing else to do. He just takes space and continues to just mow them down.
The fundamentals doesn't matter when you are in the close quarters against Kai-chan here, consistently clutching up for his team in those few big moments. And right now, 4-4, first to 7 wins the series here. Angles covered by the side of Invo here, slowing down the approach coming in from MAL. We see a bit of a rotation coming in by the side of MAL. They're looking to put a bit of pressure on towards this B tunnel.
I like it a lot. For what Invoker squad is doing is they're playing hook bait and sync, right? They're throwing out one util to see what happens, and then they're getting 3-4 grenades being thrown at them at once from both sides, whether it's B or even A. And that's perfect because now there's a bit of a discrepancy in the utility economics here, and Mang somehow is able to just take out Caramel on the turning corner. He wasn't expecting him to cover so much distance so fast.
And that is a very important spot. Mid is open right now. Hybrid comes in for the re-rotation here. Gets taken down, but right now the defense is already shattered coming in by the side of Invo here. You play defense, you cannot afford to lose out these members here. And with that in mind, 3 members being available for MAL, they get the successful bomb plan in towards A side.
So what's Sugus and Dino been doing this entire time? They've been doing this weird little dance. Like, they've clearly heard each other and they're clearly aware of each other's presence, but there's other important things to do right now, especially for Dino.
Yeah, Dino needs to be slowly approaching this bomb site here, clear those corners here, pick out those individual 1v1s, but talking is easy, doing it is extremely hard. Once again, the MVP of this round, Mang. He's the entry fragger here, picking off those favorable matchups here coming in for side MAL, and then when the defense breaks, that's where they apparently succumb to those defense points for the side Invoker squad.
Yeah, I mean, Mang and as well as Kai-chan have been working phenomenally together, right? But here we go.
Very well.
First flashes already come out, and I think that the MAL has figured out that these flashes don't need a lot. So they're not responding as aggressively as they did before. They're just trying to save as many of their utils as possible. Mang gonna quickly throw out the very first grenade here to try to allow him some space as Kai-chan creeps up mid. Oh, the timing could have been worse. He needs to isolate these fights, and Kai-chan realizes that he's getting shot from 2 sides. It's dangerous. He's 8 HP. He's got some backup here from Kengo as they slowly get Mang into a position where he's already flanking down by the A side. Too late. Zoe puts him down.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, and that's on me. And right now, with proper defense being set up by Invo squad here, the members coming in from MAL is getting taken down slowly but surely. Sugus goes in for aggressive 1v1, wins it, and right now it's a 2v4 in favor for the side of Invo squad here. They need to get the plan down. How do they break into these sides with super good defense? Sugus, you need to check the angles here. The moment you enter, you might get caught by cows.
Look right, my guy. If he just looks the right a little bit more, he can see the gun poking out. And as they do, these swings,
he gets
perfect.
it!
Perfectly done by Sugus, well calculated, but now this is going to start a whole initialization from the rest of the Invoker squad. They got 30 seconds to deny the bomb, and Sugus is now down to 30 HP off of 1 frag.
You need 5 seconds to plant the bomb right now. Time is not in the favor for the side of MAL. They need to find that empty bomb site. We see an aggressive rotation here coming in for the side of Bumo here. He's rushing straight towards that A site, but the angles are being covered by Hybrid. He's hunting for Bumo. Loses out the bomb, and that might just be round win coming in for the side of Info. Once again, we're equalizing the series to a 5-5. 2 more rounds.
2 more rounds. Equal footing. And I think this has to be one of the most entertaining games, especially for an analyst. There's just so many good things that Invoker Squad and MAL are adjusting ever so slightly, right? And Invoker Squad specifically this time, looking to bait and switch once again, not getting as many responses as possible, so they take passive angles and then start doing the push and pull. And now that they've already got one member flanking up so far up, Mang doesn't even know that Hybrid's in the smoke. No, he guesses!
He got it!
He spams him! Oh, he knew!
A disaster coming in for the side of Info here with no Hybrid, no Zoe here. They need to defend this site with a 3v5 approacher. A site already being infiltrated coming in by the side of MAL. They get the successful bomb plant here, but Caramel is in the area here. Kai-chan goes in for 1v2. Gets picked up in the crossfire here. We're down to a 4v2 right now. 30 seconds for Info.
Invo, they're playing defensively. They know that they're getting surrounded here. Now it's just the hunting spree for the MAL as they gun them down one by one. Not even worried about a ninja defuse. 5 to 6 so far. Invoker Squad, the gamble did not pay off. They managed to sneak their guy in, but it felt a little too obvious for someone like Mang.
Playoff spot in the reach for the side of MAL right now. One more win pushes them straight into top 4, and Envo on the other side of the coin. One more round loss and they are out of CFLC Malaysian National Qualifiers.
Yep, they have to make sure Tunnel B is covered, A Long is also covered, just by one member. Tunnel B, I understand, having 2 members is definitely helpful, but if you look at the position of Caramel and Hybrid, they have the most important angle by far. They want to make sure that they can control mid for as long as possible. That denies so much information from MAL, and you can see how slow of an approach that the MAL like to do, and they always depend on Mang and as well as Kai-chan to open things up, and they find it immediately. Kai-chan finds a beautiful entry here. It ends up dying still. Hybrid takes him out at the very least, and immediately you see that the defenders are going back outside of the site, looking to retake instead.
And right now it's a favorable 4v3 intercept for MAL. Which side do they approach here? It seems to be the aggressive A side here. Cows going on for some information taken here. But we see a bit of a resistance coming in from Invo Squad here. Bomb has been successfully planted. Kengo holding off the entry point here coming in for Invo.
Yep, Sugos, he needs to go here. They need to get rid of him now rather than later. If not, they're going to get pushed. And finally, Sugos is down. Hybrid at 5 HP has paid the tax and is able to pay it back even further as Kengo finally finds the trade. 15 HP, Kengo, very healthy.
15 seconds on the clock right now. He gets taken down, and MAL wins out against Invo Squad, qualifies to the top 4 playoffs here, eliminating Invoker Squad.
Dang, after how Invoker Squad played the defense, they just got caught sleeping on the wheel, on the job, 2 rounds, and that's all they needed on the attacker side.
I think this entire 12 rounds, something really stood out to me. Whoever gets the control on mid, the 1v1, smoothens out the round percentage for their team with a very big margin.
Well, on a map like Satellite, right, it's not necessarily about having like pure control, because you can wait out the utils, right? It's about pushing and pulling. It's about attacking one side of the site, and then if somebody happens to look away, that's when you have your mid-peak, mid-lurkers actually go for the peak, or maybe even your B side to throw util. It's very chaotic because while the communication is happening pretty smoothly in the traditional 5v5, here for people like Zoe, Dino, Hybrid, Caramel, and as well as Cows, I think it gets really difficult to manage how they're getting attacked when so many things are happening at once, forcing individual players to actually step up.
And when we talk about individual player, right, we need to emphasize as well on the 1v1s here. You have so many angles in Satellite for the attacking side, and that's why we see MAL, the way they play those 1v1s and how they bait out utils coming in from the opposing team, they did it really well and very patiently before getting those 1v1 wins.
Yep. Again, it's just making sure that they get the information that they need, right? Really having an advantage in every aspect of the game, and I love it. And I think so far, Kai-chan showing off to be a really good entry fragger, especially when he has the help of like people like Mang and a really good idea of how they actually want to hit that site. I think for me, the difficult part about this map is like guarding that tunnel B, right? That one time that they attacked through that tunnel B didn't work out too well for the MAL in general, and I think it was more likely that Invoker Squad was going to use that strat more often throughout their game. But man, that A long, that was hard to take control over. They gave up all that space, and that's when it allowed Kai-chan to just activate.
Yep, Kai-chan and also Mang always getting those entry frags by lurking towards mid-side, and there was a very insane one that's been executed by Mang. He was getting pincer in a 2v1, and the member coming from Invoker Squad, he was in smoke, and he just knew like, okay, there's definitely someone here, I just cannot know. Let me just pre-fire some of my tab, and he actually got that 1v2, which was amazing coming in from Mang.
Yep, again, the SMG can catch people off sometimes, right? People forget that you walk pretty quickly with it. You also make sure that you can like just run and gun all day long. It's pretty easy to use, and I think it's a pretty effective weapon in certain scenarios, right? Especially when they're right up in your face. There's just not a lot you can really do about that.
The recoil is so low on that SMG. It gives so much value for aggressive players like Mang. You walk fast, you are parkouring in the satellite map, and you are just finding those individual 1v1s that really puts you into a perspective like, hey, if I'm on the defender's side and Mang just picks me off at the entry fight like Kai-chan, then you're wondering like, hey, satellite has a lot of angles for the enemy attacking side to really enter here. So that puts me into a reactive state to play on that retake of the site.
And that's not something you want to be against an SMG, right? You don't want to play reactive against the SMG. You want to be the lead peeker. You don't want to be the person getting peeked against. So at the very least, we did see a little bit of a diversity for the weapons. I was hoping at some point somebody would have taken like a sniper rifle of some sort, whether it be a car, a Barrett, maybe even a classic AWM to try and control mid a little bit more. But I think the rifles made a lot of sense considering how that the attacking side for Invoker Squad, it's like, oh, I'm gonna go for the two-pronged attack, while MAL very clearly, hey, if we're gonna attack you, we're gonna attack you on all fronts.
Fully agreed, right? Like the first series featuring the IG, they were playing the sniper rifle to a very clinical level, right? Controlling mid, controlling the entry point of the defense side, that was pretty well done. But going into the series here, 5-7, Invoker Squad just losing out against MAL on those clutch factors here. Mang, Kai-chan, really well done with those entry frags and clutch situations coming in for their team.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe Caramel Hybrid would have been able to like do a little bit better. Cals, I was expecting him to do quite well, but I think that unfortunately Zoe was just eating it every single time, having to defend, always getting
12
hit.
assists, man.
Yeah, 12 assists, because Zoe 7 is always either I'm sitting on A, I am praying that Mang and Kai-chan don't catch me on a timing, which happened like 3 rounds in a row already, and Zoe's probably looking at Dino as just like, I hope it's you and not me. And unfortunately for Dino, it usually is him getting dinked in the head, but Zoe follows up and gets the trade at the very least when they are alive.
He does deserve some love, right? Zoe playing the YouTube to a really well done job here. But you know who deserves some love? Our MVP coming in for the side of this second series of the day. It will be Mang here, the aggressive man in that 1v1, in those clutches. He was always present with a 17.7.5 KDA ratio.
Yep, I respect it. High KD, has some good game sense. Makes you wonder whether Mang is even deadlier on a real rifle rather than just an SMG, right? It does bring up that question, because again, we did see that Kai-chan was like a very close competitor for that MVP list as well. He was also opening up big time on these sites, just single-handedly finding multi-kills.
I think at this point, right, they don't really care on who is actually the MVP because they already qualified themselves to the playoffs here. So definitely good news already coming in for the side of MAL, and we do congratulate them for clinching that final spot.
Yep, it was a very tight game against Invoker Squad. Really could not tell who was going to come out at the very end there. But hopefully we do see that Invoker Squad makes another attempt at the CrossFire Legends Championship, because I would like to see them actually continue to grow, because they've got great ideas and they're one of the few teams who have done it before the game's release. With that being said, though, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, our final game to round things off here at the CrossFire Legends Championship Malaysia Qualifiers. Welcome everybody. The CFLC continues here today. We've already got a couple of qualified teams, and at this point it feels like our top four is pretty much secure, but the placements of which they will be in is still up in question with our final game of today. Of course, my name is Getting Q with the one and only Sagi, of course, here at the helm to bring you guys the action for the CrossFire Legends Championship for the Malaysian qualifiers.
And so far, Gideon, like you mentioned, right, we have already solidified our top 4 seeds going into the playoff spot to determine who amongst the 4 teams will to the championship. And for now, since these teams, they want to battle it out to see who is that first spot in the group stage here. You want to go in the playoffs knowing for a fact that I am the best in groups.
And our next upcoming game, it's going to be a very important one. IG is taking on O2 finally at the very end here, and O2 has just been ripping it through new ones throughout the entirety of the Malaysian group.
The way that they improved coming in from O2 Esports, we saw like, okay, in day 3, Drax was just killing it, individual mechanics, super well done. In day 4, that's where we see teams, lineups coming in, the smokes to forbid any form of aggressive push coming in towards the specific bomb site, the nades to clear out bomb sites. That's where strategy comes into a very large play and large factor for these teams. And coming to day 5, I want to see games like MAL and Invoker Squad, even though they were at close to the bottom of the standings, the way that they chugging out those nades, those utils, it was doing really well here.
Oh yeah, I love the set plays. It really goes the thoughts and the time and effort that these teams have put in to come up with working strats. Sometimes it doesn't work, of course, but like, you know, you gotta risk it for the biscuit as we jump right into our next game here, our final match, our final best of 1, and all hell is gonna break loose here if they can find that first initial pick. Helton with an AWM Angel in hand, waiting for that moment he can pop another head.
Yeah, peeking towards Plaza here, that door is going to be an interesting one to hold off. O2 Esports will be on the defending side, on the Global Risk, and IG will be on the Blacklist attacking side here. We see the IG members coming in slightly towards mid and A side here, looking to take control. First nade already coming in alongside with a smoke to flush out some of the members of the side of O2.
Yeah, they want to make sure that the cubby is clear, right? But at first, dropping down the smoke to make sure that rotations, while they're trying to get onto site, they don't get shot from the spawn. So they want to make sure that they take their time with this, right? The smoke still has plenty of time to work with as they slowly start taking the space here. Unfortunately, no picks just yet. And at any moment, they could be all over the A site.
Yes, slow game here coming in from both teams. Miner gets info on towards Naxu here. Naxu knows many of the members of IG are coming in for this aggressive take, and Naxu already coming down. That signals go time coming in for IG to enter this A site.
And Manpa, he's holding his angle here. He's refusing to give this up as once again Yonzi, he's back up on towards H short as they take out another, gets a double, holds the site, and finally clears it up for finally the C4 gets to be planted.
Yeah, Helton, the sole survivor here coming in for side O2 here. Gets the first pick off here. Has the AWM rifle. Doesn't get the flick on towards the end. Goes for another one. Whips it as well. Goes for the secondary here. Now, Sniper versus Sniper. Miner versus Helton. 1v3 situation. Who clutches it here? Does throw out the AWM Angel here. Does get the 1v1. Looking for the angle. The jump shot. Finding the final strike. Clutches it in a 1v3 situation.
Not a lot of returning fire shots, but at the end of it, wow, you can get the C4 all the way out here. Okay, didn't realize that you could get it on the low ground there. Makes it a lot easier to manage. Not sure what if the lineup, if it was planted there and you already had a sniper rifle, why don't you just sit by pit the entire time? Why is the post plant on the site?
Composure is a thing, right? Because when they planted, they had to rid off the remaining members here. So their return was really clutch here, and WKid already sealing off the angle here, coming in for a specific pinpoint. This gate is not easy for IG. They're backing off because of that O2 firepower.
And look at this, they already found the profit. They immediately start pulling back. They only have one last lurker here, which is Mampa, who already finds one, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants because the sites are already clear, and they're going to double check the A short just in case anybody rotated out from B site. So now, with this push, they've guaranteed the final locations of IG. Really nice clearing speed of sweeping through the map for O2.
Oh, that game fight went so well in favor for the side of O2, and an aggressive mid peek here coming in from Minor here.
Ooh,
Helton
no.
gets the first shot onto his Kabal already here, already a 4v5 in favor for the side of O2.
Yep, he's just pre-firing as he swings, but now W Kid, he doesn't find it, and now Dion has to take him out. At the very unfortunate for W Kid, but at least Mampa is able to take at least one trade, turning this into a 3v3. One unhealthy member compared to 3 unhealthy. Dion, 9 HP, is making it work.
It's looking really good for the side of IG right now. They have the C4 on towards Yonzi here. Really healthy. Helton still holding on towards this mid doors here. But so much sound has been sounded coming in for the member here. He's forced it into a 1v1. Helton has to back off towards safety here. They are needed to play this defense here. This mid doors, there's a lot of hate on this teams.
Oh yeah, plenty of hate. And now he sees the smoke eye shots. He needs to deny them as quickly as possible. Oh no! He flubs it! Turns away from the flash at the very least, put down to 27 HP. And now he just needs to wait. He needs to wait for Helton to get into a better position right now, to climb up through short as he's already making his way through B long, hiding in the smokes, finds one, looking for a second one into Yonzi, who just needs to spam, gets one as well, and it's too late. He loses another member by a short.
Helton and another one of these clutch fangles here. He has the pistol, goes in a 1v1 against the side of Yonzi here. Yonzi drops into a very dangerous low position, plays the off angle, gets the strike on with the 8K Petrosaur.
Woo! Alright, good movement coming in from Yonzi here, making sure that he's not going to re-peek his angles, especially against a team who's well prepared for him to re-peek an angle. And there we go! Minor finally gets the first kill of the game, beating Helton in this 1v1. It's been a vicious battle so far. But now with the flash already through in another pick as well, this is just going to open up mid entirely.
Yeah, 2-man already down forward side of O2 right now. With members, this advantage, IG signals the attack coming in towards A side. Naksu, he's looking around. He hears noises here. Doesn't win the 1v1 against Yonzi here. Yonzi already putting so much work against the side of O2. They're looking good. 4v1, eye shots with a dream. Can he look for this potential clutch against 4 members and so many utils?
Well, let's see. It's all going to depend on eye shots here. He did it yesterday, but unfortunately not able to replicate it here today. But it's still very early on in these rounds, right? Round number 4, clear victory, 2-2 so far. As we move on into round number 5, let's see if the openers are going to change here. Now that they're going to try and make sure on the defensive side, O2 want to make these shots count.
And this mid door has been given up by side of O2 here, so smokes, flashes will be lined towards that right now. So maybe IG wants to take on that aggressive one, but Yonzi already open firing, taking out double kid.
No. Okay, another whiff on the nade there, but still. Big profits here at the end of the day by Yonzi, still alive, and that's what matters. The numbers advantage, the number of rifles that you can be looking at a single angle at once increases, and that's all you need. Oh, Naksu, he turns the corner, finds one immediately. Oh, gets the bomb holder as well, and that's perfect. That buys just enough time here, but we don't see any rotations coming on from eye shots. He's still holding in case somebody walks through mid, and Mampa, he takes out one. Helton turns it to the inside. Helton still dodging it, goes for another shot, has to whip out the MK23, drops the smoke. Can he turn the corner without dying here as the spam comes through? Here comes the molly, and finally the molly burns him alive.
Yeah, back to a 2v2 right now, but members are starting to come down forward side of the aggressive flank coming in by eye shots here, saving the team from a potential comeback for the side of IG pre the rotations on the sides.
Yeah, it is great stuff, Minor. He's not looking for that first jump. He was looking for the second one. He was expecting something here. And an aggressive push coming in from O2, coming in by B long. They're trying to control, at the very least, by Pit's side. And a lot of util is coming up for it. And this is actually working out very good for O2.
Yeah, the A side gate, that's where a lot of the focus will be hanging towards here. Because this one, if they enter here, they break through so much space against O2, and right now they're reconsidering their options here. Still thinking, do we go towards the B side? Do we go through mid? Where do we attack against O2? Because that round just now, it was looking a bit dicey coming in for side IG.
Yeah, on the defensive side, oh wait, hold on. Manpa doesn't find anybody, finally gets the first kill in. He wants to get Young.
1v5!
He's making it difficult. Now the secondary peek coming in from Naksu as the frag grenade comes out just in time. Unfortunately for Naksu, unable to find the trade, but the damage has been dealt. Manpa has chunked down 90% of the HPs of IG, all by a long.
Manpa and Naksu, the util usage, the way that they're sealing off the entrance of this main gate, they're doing it so well. And Manpa and Naksu, so well done. 2v5 against the members of IG pre the round swaps.
Disgusting. And WKid also has a lineup as well. He's got a lineup for the double door boxes. That's so funny. All right, here we go. First 1v1, and there we go. 1-1 between Helton and Miner.
That's not gonna feel good coming in for the side of IG here. With losing one member on the defensive side, that's the signal to go for the side of O2 here. They're putting a lot of aggression here on towards this A side. Finding Kapao. Kapao's down. That's more members for the side of IG as of this point.
Yep, and now it's gonna be a full initiation coming in from O2 at the very least. They're all in on this site, making sure that they wanna secure it as soon as possible. And it looks like IG gonna play on the retake here. They're taking very passive angles, but now by A-Shot, Yanzi already opens it up, but where's the rest of his teammates? Alright, coming up from the underpass. Double kill coming in, huge for Helton at the very least on the MK23, and he's done plenty of damage to Dien, and Dien's lucky stars finally ends here.
Helton's opening snipe from the mid doors really set the tone for O2 to go for that aggressive A entry here. And once again, he's holding that mid doors. Miner, Helton, 1v1. Who wins this mid door control here is looking really dangerous for both of these two snipers.
Yep, and then they give it up. They immediately give it up. They're like, no. This is too much. Manpa, he finds one at the very least. He understands what happened. B site is now wide open as they start pushing through in towards mid. We gotta make sure that Deanna and Kabak can hold strong, and they do! The mid push has been shut down as the C4 planted onto the B side with the overwhelming numbers coming in from IG. One goes down on the opposite side, but Helton holds strong. He takes out Kabak for the double kill. One more coming through the crack as well. Setting up. Drops it, the molly right in front of him so nobody can push him. They have to take an honest fight, and it's too late. Final strike by Onzi.
Yeah, too difficult of a situation here. 1v3 in favor for the side of Global Race IG. They do slowly but surely chase down the score lines coming in on that round 8. 3-5. Leading will be the side of O2 Esports. 2 more, and they will end this series here. But IG putting up a really strong fight at this game.
It's an honest game here. And O2... 2 rounds away from actually finding the win here, and iShots finds it, aggressively swinging out before the molly, expecting it to be a mid-B. But now they're not holding the tall angles anymore. Making sure that they stick towards default on A more than anything else. The wide swing, iShots too late to react to it. Goes on to the second push, does go for the re-peek and finds it at the very end with the help of Naksu. And WKid takes out Yanzi, and that's a huge pick for O2 to try and close this round out.
It doesn't look good for the side of IG here, losing so many defending members here. I think the most important one was the fact that iShots got the opening frag on towards Kapal and immediately allowed O2 to go for that aggressive A side take, which led to this situation. Yanzi falls, Boboy falls, Miner, the sole survivor with an AWM here. Not the easiest of the weapons to go for a 1v4 clutch.
Yeah, it's not easy at all, but now with the rest of the team, they finally close out this round. Round number 9 ends in victory for the Blacklist side O2. Round 10. This is match point here. IG need to put everything on the table, all the marbles. Helton, oh, they do not get collateral there. Not like that.
Not like that. Imagine Miner gets like a 2-shot, 2 in 1, so that's gonna be crazy here. Manpa, once again, playing really aggressive here, taking the control of this main gate on towards A side, and iShots pre-firing against Miner here, forcing this mid-take here. Miner still plays it really well, tries to get these snipes on towards the multiple members, gets the first kill on towards iShots.
And that's fine, but the bomb holder is now by himself, and he has to face off against somebody. Oh, wait, hold on, Helton facing off against Yanzi here, and yeah, I'm surprised that Helton was the one who ended up going through short at the end of the day here. Fortunately for him, he goes down anyways. Really good stuff. Helton catches him off guard as Naksu pushes out through the smoke, sees 2, and now with the crossfire with WKid, but boy, finally goes down. Good stuff and great setups here.
How does Helton do it? Because he was using a secondary fire, outwinning the 1v1, comes out of smoke, picks off someone from the underpass with a AWM rifle. That's not easy, and that does show O2 Esports comes in ready for this final series in the group stage.
Yep. I mean, Helton with the MK23 knife blade here. Plenty of highlights because a lot of those kills did not even come from the AWM. It just came from a secondary weapon in the first place. And it's a reliable weapon. Good rate of fire, good damage as well. Great handling, really not much recoil to work with anyways. Plus, it's a tapping weapon.
And this goes to show how well the fundamental mechanics coming in for the side of Helton here. The fact that he kept getting multiple kills using a secondary instead of against a primary target like the AK, like the M4A1, his aim is pretty up the roof, at least in this series.
Yep, and even Mampa, alongside with Naksu, holding on to hit on A-Long, that one unbelievable. Really should not have been allowed to get away with this. But it's just the misuse of util, right? They could have flushed them out, they could have flashed and swung, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? When you lose out main gate so easily against your opponent on towards the attacking side, you'll be thinking like, oh, I can't break through this main gate, I use up all my utils, so if I go for rotation, do I get enough utils still to actually break through the other side? Because it's not easy, because it was really everything in the favor of O2 at the very last few moments of this final series of group stage.
Oh yeah, I think they really decided, you know what, let's tighten up, let's make sure that we can get this game and move on with our lives here, make sure that our post plants are especially good, because we saw what happened a couple of times on those attacks, and the post plants definitely got a lot more dicier than we would have liked it to be, but I think they figured it out very fast on what the defensive positions were, which is why they started to attempt like mid attempts, and especially along catwalk side, catwalk into A-long. Sorry, A-short.
I think, was there any moment in the game, I think only once, that we saw a B-side take? And that was by O2. Right.
That was by... Oh, yeah, because Helton was the last person. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's only because they lost ice shots during the smoke mid when he was
I think so, yes.
messing around with Miner, trying to bait shots, and then eventually it led up to Helton actually passing the bomb over down into B-spiral stairs.
I think with maps featuring these strong mid approaches here, if you can get that AWM rifle and you master it into a really strong succession, every time you pick off one member in that mid gate, you immediately open up so much room for the attacking or the defensive side, depending on where you play, right? One member down means that you are in a 5v4 fave role here. If enemy wants to come in for the aggressive take, the aggressive engage, they have to think like, oh, how many angles we have to cover? Losing out one member at the start of round means that I have 4 utils, nades, mollies, smokes, flashbangs. Those are removed from the pool here from your utils.
Yes, and I think that, you know, at least they should have considered a couple more B pushes just to keep the defense on their toes, because a lot of the time I think if the defense just by happenstance just sent somebody out, they probably would have figured out pretty quickly, oh hey, catwalk is pretty invested right now, and that's a very powerful angle to actually hold on to, especially when mid doors are going to be smoked and your main sniper is going to rotate to one of the rotate to the A side to take care of A-long. So it's a little difficult to say at the very least. A couple of things could have changed and really could have helped out the gameplay, because if we're talking about like winners and losers, O2 per capita per player, unless it's Dian and Yonzi, they're pretty much going to get shot and die.
And aside from like talking about Helton, of how he's really good on the secondary fire and also the AWM rifle, Mampa, he was really good holding those doors. Like, I remember one of those rounds, him and Naksu playing on the defensive side. The full members coming in from IG wanted to rush A immediately, but the way they hold main gate was so good. Utils flushing in, playing the catwalk here, kiting back and forth, peeking the enemies, making sure that all utils were landing on towards their face. And once they're all low and running back towards their spawn, that's immediately where Mampa goes in for the aggressive peek and snipes out every single one of them to get that point win. So it was really amazing stuff coming in from Mampa.
And you'll see that a lot with more professional teams, right? Again, just fundamentals and then adding some, well, I wouldn't say advanced tech, but a tech that requires you to coordinate with a partner of sorts, right? The push and pull is so very important, because when you're fighting 2 targets, it's so easy to kill 2 targets if they're standing still. But if both of them are going and trading each other and going in and out of cover, suddenly this becomes a near impossible experience to win.
they're just counter-strafing every time they're walking around here, right? So definitely props to Mampa and Naxu for pulling off such a wonderful play. But want to find out who is the MVP of this specific series here? It will be Helton here, coming up with a 15-5 to KDA. He was on a mission on that AWM rifle, holding mid, getting those aggressive 1v1 peaks, and the first round, that's where I remember the most. With a sniper rifle, with a secondary, and he managed to win out that 1v3 with the enemy planting down that bomb already in A site.
I think the final score for the Helton Minor 1v1 was like 2-2, and then they never got like the final point because they just kept on like fighting elsewhere.
They're like, I'm done with mid doors, like just smoke it up and let's pack things going. Let's go to the other main gate that's on the A site here.
Yeah.
And B is like, why is no one visiting B? We're not close today.
Yeah, man. I think Minor and Helton definitely had a lot of fun this game. Just not only battling it out against each other, but like Minor especially, he was finding eliminations. He was finding opportunities to actually say, hey, you know what? If I can take one guy out and turn this into a 5v4, this becomes significantly easier for us to close out rounds. And that's what Helton was looking to do. Right from round number 1, when Helton found that initial pick, instantly a full A push.
Exactly, alright. And this goes to show the top 3 teams, at the very least for today, they have really mastered the sniper rifle on the players like Helton, on players like the others. So it will be interesting going on the further stages, going into the playoffs. But talking about playoffs, let's check out the leaderboards here after all the series has concluded in the group stage, with O2 not dropping any single BO1. They claim the prize trophy of the first place in the overall leaderboards.
Here at the National Qualifiers, O2 takes the first spot with TXD in the second. IG, with that lost, they could have made things difficult for the top 3, but they ended up just confirming themselves in third. In fourth, we have MAL, who's going to be joining the rest of them with their predecessors to make sure that they go to the National Qualifier Finals.
For the very least, O2, TXD, IG coming in towards today, they were already soft guaranteed their spot in the playoffs. It was really down to MAL versus Invoker Squad to duke out for the final 4th seed here. And props to MAL, they put up a show. They adapted the meta so well, played the smokes, played the aggression, really to get the top 4 spot going into playoffs in national qualifiers for the Malaysian region.
It makes me sad to see Invoker Squad go and have to go through another set of open qualifiers. Hopefully they get invited for the next CrossFire Legends Championship, because again, I would love to see this team continue to grow. They clearly have some experience in the tactical FPS genre, and especially on mobile as well. Some of them really know what they're doing, right? They've got some great macro, and all of this is with the help of you guys. So please pre-register right now for the CrossFire Legends C, which returns December 16th. December 16th, it's literally right around the corner. 2 days time, 2 days.
1.5 days if you count today is already passing like 5 hours here, so clock is ticking. Once that 5 hour hits, it will be a 24-hour countdown until the official release of CrossFire Legends C, once again back to Southeast Asia here. So if you like CFLC so far and you want to join in on the fun and action for the 2026 year, do pre-register it and do get ready for it tomorrow.
Guys, keep in mind, if you're looking for a device to upgrade your game to be like, man, CrossFire Legends looks like it's a little too much for my phone because it's old. Well, the Oppo is here to save the day. Si the Oppo A6 Pro kini dilancarkan direkod untuk ketahanan prestasi seperti baharu. The Oppo A6 Pro is been launched. It is designed to last and has the performance and consistent what is it? What do they call? What the word is eluding me right now. Consistent performance, as if it was new.
Yeah, of course it's new. It's a new phone that these players have been playing so well. If you want to be players like Helton, Minor, or even the side of Yonzi here, do give Oppo a try on their devices here. But if you like good webcam, you like vlogging, you like all these fancy 4K HD, give our other sponsor OBS Bot a good try here. With OBS Bot Me Too Gaming webcam, you can rakam keunggulan Anda, stream legacy Anda, forge your legacy, record it on your own, and play it back in 4K HD.
Want to catch those beautiful moments. And I would love to see these players actually get some Ozbots for themselves, so when they make those insane plays, we know exactly how they reacted to that. So please, guys, pre-register while you still can. Check out Ozbot, check out Oppo, and their new flagship products. With that being said, that's going to be enough CrossFire Legends Championship Malaysian qualifiers Qualifiers for today. My name is Gideon Q, of course. This is Sagi. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who decided to tune in to the broadcast, we'll see you next time. And good luck and keep on firing, players.